Welcome back to TF Custom Shaving Brushes Workshop. How we all doing, lads? I see we've got Resin in the room already, and Brett's in there as well. I think there's a couple of others in there as well, obviously not in the chat yet. How we doing, lads? How was your day today? All well, I hope? Not working too hard, Brett? You're out on the road again, mate, or are you back home now? Oh, okay, so you're having a pit stop. All good. We'll still be here, Brett. I've got a few things to run through tonight. I've been busy the last 2 or 3 days. I was actually going to come on and do a stream on Friday night, and I was that close. I was almost out here and starting everything up, and then I thought, nah, I'll leave it and I'll get on with a few bits and pieces that I wanted to get on with, and I managed to get a fair bit done. I did flick you a picture though, Brett. Obviously you've seen that because I've seen your replies, but I'll show that blank this afternoon as well. I've got a few other blanks that I cast as well, which I'll show, and you have probably seen some of the pictures I put up between Facebook and Instagram or wherever, but I'm going to show you them live on camera tonight as well. I'm hoping that these are going to look pretty special when they're all done. So yeah, some interesting stuff, and I've got a lot of other things to try at this point as well. A lot of new things to try. So we'll see. But I've got a couple of interesting things tonight. I'll show you all the chameleon stuff that I've done live on camera here, and I'll show you the new halo stuff that I'm doing as well. So I'm still playing around with that halo one, but I'll show you that, and I'll explain it to you what it's all about, and you'll get to see some of them firsthand. I've done a bit more work on those blanks today, on the halo blanks, but I'll show you them anyway. But I've got a little halo blank here, which is a hybrid one. I don't know how it's going to turn out. There's a couple of flaws in it. There's a bit of a flaw in the back here. Just let me go to the yeah mate, yeah. It's I don't know why I done it, to be honest, because it's been bloody cold up here the last couple of days, and you certainly feel the cold on the old scone when it gets cold like this. But it's how I like wearing it nowadays. I used to always have long hair when I was young, and I started losing a bit up the front here. I've still got all my own hair through the rest, but I've got this baldy bit up here now, so I just decided to, nah, bugger it, just take it off. I'd rather either have a head of hair or no hair, so no hair it is. And it's great up here in the summer because it keeps me a lot cooler. The medication that I'm on, it makes my body run a few degrees hotter than most anyway. So in the summertime I really struggle with the heat with my medication. So the winter time I don't get as cold as most people would get, because my body's still running a few degrees warmer, so because of my meds. But it's all good. But yeah, I like the old scone to be nice and free of hair, mate. So you're about an hour from home, Brett? Ah, well, we'll still be here. Like I said, we'll be here at least 2 and a bit hours, closer to 3 hours probably. We'll see how we go. I'm going to turn this one. There's a bit of finishing in this one because I've got to apply CA to the timber. But I want to show you some of the stabilising stuff that I've been working on as well. So that's to me, for making timber shaving brushes, the stabilising is definitely the way to go, because it makes the timber totally impervious to water. I mean, even if you spray it or you put something else on it and it gets a bad chip in it, then obviously that opens up the timber to water again. And once the water gets in behind your finish on the timber, then it's an issue. CA, as I've mentioned in the previous stream, CA is the one that I've always stuck with, because it seems to be a harder finish than most others, and it can sort of withstand a bit of abuse and still be good, many years later. I mean, if pens can be coated in it and they last for years and years and years, then obviously shaving brushes can be protected with it as well. But yeah, and I've also got the new camera set up now, so you'll get to see a different view. You'll get a really close-up head down shot now as well. So I'm happy with my cameras now. That's me got 3 Sony Handycams, and I can always add in another camera for another view, or maybe another part of the workshop, like maybe when I go over to do the buffing. I can maybe use the GoPros or one of the GoPros for that. But I'm going to wait on that for now. I'm just going to stick with these 3 until I get my workshop sorted out. I want to put in on new benches and everything, so I can get a lot of stuff away. At the moment I've got a lot of stuff sitting around, and it makes it hard when you try and do something else. So that's all for the future anyway, so we'll see how we go with that. How's the sound tonight, guys? Does the sound okay? I felt that, and I watched back the last stream, the last live, and I think my voice, although it was clear, it was a little bit quiet. So I've got the microphone out front pointing up this time. Hopefully that will make the sound a bit clearer and a bit louder. And the music, I'll try and keep on tabs with the music and just keep the music down a little bit more. Some cases the music was quite quiet, and in other ones it was loud, but I think that's the equalisation between the tracks and the music that I've got anyway. But if anything does get too loud or out of whack, guys, just let me know, and I'll try and sort it at this end with the mixer. So, like I said, I've got a number of castings. I'm going to leave them until a little bit later in the live. So I'm probably going to crash on with this handle here, which, like I said, is I've used some of the new halo pigments that I've got for casting. So this is just an experimental blank, but if it turns out to be a nice brush, then great. But it does have a couple of little flaws in it, and I'll show you them very shortly on one of the closer cameras, and you'll get to see what I'm talking about. But the flaws aren't too bad. The blank's already down in size though. It's actually currently sitting at about 39 millimeters. So my blanks normally start, the majority of my blanks normally start for a standard type brush setup. They normally start around about 42 mil wide, and then I shape them down from there. And then if I go into some of the other brushes, like the chubby type styles, then I normally make them bigger. I normally make them either 45 or 50 mil in diameter. Well, that's the starting size for the blank. And then I turn them down from there till we get the finished size that we want. So this one's already a little bit small. I'm going to just do one of my shapes that I've been doing in the past as well, so I don't want to do anything too different with this one. It's just really an experimental. If I can get a nice handle out, then good and well. I'm also going to change the synthetic in this one this time. I'm going to go away from a tuxedo this time, and I'm going to put a Plissoft knot in this one, which I've got here. So I think the colour of this will go better with the colour of this handle. With the burl, and it's got gold halo in it, so it should look quite effective. So that's what I'm going to go with anyway. Right, Rami, how are you, buddy? Welcome to the live. Good to see you dropping in, mate. Okay, well we'll get on with it, eh? So I'll show you a couple of views close up of this blank I've got in the lathe. And you'll see what I'm talking about with regards to some of the defects, but hopefully I can work around them, and hopefully we can get a brush out. So we'll crack on with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to camera 2, which will give you that front on shot there. So that's the shot that you have seen in the last couple of streams with the second last camera I got. So you can see the burl there, but you can see in this section through here, there's a bit of resin in there, and it's like 2 definite cut lines in the timber there. So I can't actually remember what that was or why it's like that, but it's there. And like I said, this one is a bit of an experimental one to test the resin going directly to the burl. So I want to test that and see how it stands up. So far so good. I mean, I've had this on the metal lathe to turn it round and face off the ends, and it held up no problems at all, solid as a rock. So I just want to see how it goes, and like I said, it will depend if we can turn this defect out or whether it's going to stay in there. If it's going to stay in there, it'll kind of spoil the look of the handle anyway, I think, but we'll see how we go. And then round this side here, you can see where the blank's just a little bit out of round, so you're actually getting a little bit of a look at the gold halo in there, but there is a little bit of a hollow in this area here. So that area there is, you know, probably about 1.5 to 2 mil deep. In this area here, it's obviously been an air bubble in there. And again, like I said, it's a bit of a trial blank, so you know, nothing was too, I wasn't trying to be too precise with anything on that. But anyway, like I said, we might be able to get around that with, depending on the shape we put in the handle. It'll be near the bottom of the handle, that one there, so it'll maybe get turned out anyway. This will be the top, and I'm hoping that the brush will be able to set just in the resin without actually breaking into the timber. So that's why I've done it the way I've done it. So we'll see how we go with it. Let's crack on, we'll try and turn it and we'll see where we're at, eh? Harel, how are you, buddy? Good, thanks for dropping in. Good to see you. How's your day been? Or how's your weekend been going? Good? Sunday night. Right, okay, I'm going to get started. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go in and do a hole first, and then we'll take it from there, guys, eh? So I'll slow the lathe down to start with. I'm just going to turn it up very little amount. I'll get rid of this cable and tuck this cable in here so I'm not trailing it around and getting caught up anywhere. That's just for my lavalier mic, so we've got a bit better sound now. That's me started. Go back to 0, advance the tailstock. And then I'm going to go in about 10 to 12 mil for this one, probably 10 mil to start with. So that's me in 10 there. And I'll probably have to take a little bit out with the skew chisel as well. So I'll just take that sharp edge off so it doesn't cut the hairs. And this will be too big to go in there anyway because it's a 26mm knot, so I do need to take a bit off anyway. So what I'll do is I'll get rid of this tailstock for now. We'll just stick that out the way, and I'll bring the tool rest around, and we'll set up for the skew just to make that hole a bit bigger now. So it's just a pity that a lot of the knot sizes don't correlate with the Forstner bit sizes. So unfortunately, you've got to get to the nearest size hole, and then you've got to take the balance out with the tool. Occasionally you hit it lucky, and some of the knots that are better sized or better, you know, not got bulging glue bumps or anything like that, then you don't have to, you know, you've got to make them a little bit bigger. But sometimes you can get away with it. Sometimes they'll just work out the right size for, say, you might be putting a 26mm knot in, but you need 28mm, and you can use a 28mm Forstner bit, but you can't get a 27mm Forstner bit. Or if you can, they're not easy to come by. So just need to lift that tool rest up a little bit. So I just make do with what I've got, and I get the sizing to where I think it needs to be. And over the years I've gained a little bit of experience on where things need to be. And that's that done. We'll just give that a little touch again, just take the sharp edge away. And we'll sit that knot in now, and we'll see how that, still a little bit tight. Yeah, I'm just going to open that up a little bit more. We only want about half as much as I took off the last time now. a little bit off just to take the sharp edge away again. And we'll try that knotting again now. So it's still a little bit tight, and that's what I was saying about that. Well, actually no, we're bottoming out there, so that's fine. We're actually making the bottom there. So I might need to go in a couple of mil yet. Yeah, we'll go in a couple of mil on that. So we can move that back out the way there. Bring this back up. Now I can set this back on 0. And if I set that on 0 and bring it up to the touches the blank again, then I know I can go into 12 mil this time. Slow that down. So we've already gone into 10, there's 10 there, there's 11, and there's 12. Get rid of this again for a second. Bring the tool rest back in. And all I've got to do is take that little bit out in the bottom now. And that's that done. So you'll see also that I've had to move the little picture-in-picture, because the new camera and how the camera takes the shot up in the screen, I can't have it up in the top left corner. I've had to move the little picture-in-picture down to the bottom right, but it still lets you see what I'm doing in and around the lathe, even although we're maybe zoomed in on a shot like you're seeing at the moment. So we'll just set that up again. I'll take that bit out now because we no longer need that in there. So I can get rid of that. And what I will do is I'll just try that knotting again. That's not sharp. Much better. That's got a much better feel to it as soon as I put it in there. And that's me got my 54-55, so I'm happy with that now. Okay, so we can continue on now. And I'll just put the live center in here now. And I'm just going to very carefully just start rounding that that top edge over a little bit before I bring this the tailstock in to give it some support. So all I'm doing here is just shaping that up a little bit, not reducing the length of the socket, the height of the socket though. I want to just maintain the height that I've already set for the depth of the socket, but I'm just putting a little bit of shape into that top edge of the handle. And that's us just about there now. Okay. So now I can get some support that I've rounded that top edge off. I can bring the tailstock in and we can get some support. So if I go to camera 3 now, which is the new shot, I'll just set that tool rest in place. I'll bring the tailstock up now. We'll lock the tailstock in. So that's me giving it good support now. And now I can go in with the other tools and start doing a bit of shaping. But what I'll do first is I'll just get my rough idea of sizes first before I get too carried away on where I want to be with things. So get my little steel rule. So where that defect is just about right on where we want to have the bottom of the handle. So you can see that where I've got the end of the rule there. You're probably not quite dead over the top. We're off to the side a little bit, but shining down or taking the shot down. I can't bring it right over the top because when I use the wet and dry sandpaper and stuff, it flicks off and it ends up going over the cameras. So that's why I've tried to move the cameras off to either side now. But I think you'll agree that it's still a fairly good shot, that shot. You can see down over the top, you'll see the shape forming, you'll actually see how I present the tools to the material and how I cut the blanks and all that sort of stuff. So it's a good shot, nice and close in, and that's what it's all about. It's about letting you see exactly what's going on. Now I'm going to take that down to a little bit further. I'm probably going to take that down to about I'd say around about there, and I can always change it, see how we go with it. So I'm just going to put a couple of marks on there now. There's the first one, and there's the second one. And that just gives me a couple of marks to work to, you know. So I'll move the tool rest back again. And I'm just going to go in. Now, what shape are we going to put in this one? The hollow shape. Yeah, I might just do this one a little bit slightly different to what we've done in the past with the other ones. Not too much different, but a little bit different. I'm actually going to take that down just a little bit more. I'm going to just bevel that back that way a touch. I'm looking forward to seeing how this these chameleon blanks, or how the chameleon effect turns out in the handle. What I've seen just looking at the blanks that I've done in the last couple of days, it looks like it'll be quite impressive actually. The halo ones, and obviously the chameleon ones I'm quite chuffed about. This next lot that I've done of the chameleons, which I'll show you later on in the stream, they've come up a real treat. I'm really looking forward to actually doing them in the cast, in the clear now, and then getting them ready to turn into handles. Now there's a couple of reasons why I chose the Plissoft knot for this handle. One is because the handle's gold, sort of golden, well, the halo effect is gold. There's a little bit of a noise here, so I'm going to have a look and see what it is. Yeah, it's because we're catching a piece of burl. Okay, so that's what that, you can hear that ticking noise. That's what it is on the tool. It's catching the tool, and because we're doing resin, and then once we hit that timber, we get that hard shock on the tool. So that's what I'm hearing. That's the clicking noise that I'm hearing. So that's all good. I'm happy with that. Okay, but I want to get more shape in that. Yeah, so coming back to the Plissoft The reason I've went with the Plissoft for this one is because of the gold colour and the lighter colour of the burl. I think the tuxedo would look too dark. It just wouldn't look quite right. So I think by going with the Plissoft, as you can see there, the lighter colour in the Plissoft is going to go quite nice with that. And then the natural colour of the burl will go better with the top of the Plissoft knot as well, the Plissoft. So that's the reason I chose that Plissoft knot for this particular handle. We've still just got a little bit of a tap round about the centre of that radius there, just there. So I'm not sure if it's the timber or if it's just that we're still a little bit out and round there. And I'd say it's probably that we're out and round a little touch. I can feel it with my fingers, but yeah, just there is where I'm getting a little. But it's not the timber that's causing that, because the timber's, I can hear the timber, it's just a different noise that I'm hearing when I hit this lumpy bit in the resin. And I think that's all it is. It's just, we're not quite round right in the centre there. And it's almost gone now. Yeah, that's it gone now, just the timber now. Okay, so that's us done the top section. Just let me get rid of those, get rid of that. Okay, now I've just got to go in and start shaping in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with my spindle gouge first, just to see how it cuts. And then we'll drop back to the carbide if we need to. So again, on this headshot, you can actually see, you'll see how I'm actually presenting the tool to the material. So I start the cut with the tool bevel pretty much straight up and down, and then as I go into the cut, I start to slowly roll the spindle gouge around, causing me to get that nice rounded hollow. And then you saw that was me with my arm there, my wrist, coming from this side. That's more burl there, so it's a lot harder. So I think I'll go with the carbide because it's pretty hard on the tools when you're doing that. So we'll go in with the carbide for that, make it a bit easier. Okay, so we'll go in with the carbide. Just check that I've got my distance right here first. Not quite. Bring that out a little bit further. So you'll see that I bring the tool rest a lot further out in that shot. You can't actually see the tool rest in that picture, and it's only because this tool here has a long end on it. So you need that to be over the tool rest, and the tool rest needs to sit in the flat of that tool there, as you can see there. And that's what gives the tool its stability, so it sits on the flat. You can hear how hard that is. That's hard, all right. I'm just going to check what's happening there because something's chipping. Oh no, it's not. It's just that there's it's just the hard and soft in the wood, I think. That little bit marked there and that ring's not a chip. That's just where the where this flat continued through. But I'll be taking that ring down a little bit anyway, so it's not too much of a drama. It's bloody hard though. You've got to hold on with these tools. That's why they've got such a long handle on them, as you can see in that shot. And I can actually extend that handle. I've got extensions where I can extend that handle so that you've got more leverage. Because once if these grab, they do tend to grab and make a bit of a mess. So you've got to be careful with them and always have plenty of pressure at the back end. Now that wouldn't stay in the chuck if I didn't have the so this material wouldn't stay in the chuck if I didn't have the tailstock inserted into it, giving it some support and strength. That's what's basically holding that, because I'm actually applying a lot of pressure to get this carbide cutter to cut, because that is just so hard. Aye. Okay, I'm going to have another look at this and I'm going to work out where I want to stop that curve and then start returning to the base. So you can see there, that's all good. It still needs to go a bit thinner in here though. I do want that thinner, and it's fairly still fairly rough in there, tool marks. Just let me grab a bit of my coffee before it goes cold. Yeah, so we'll keep going with that, but I want to put a mark just roughly where I want that curve to stop and where I want the bottom of the brush to start. So we'll just define that mark again, and I reckon if I bring that up to about there, then we'll go back to that shot. So with these cuts, all I'm doing with these cuts is just doing a bit finesse, just finessing the shape a little bit, trying to take the tool marks out, and at the same time still give it a little bit more shape. Still fairly rough in there. I can actually feel it on the tool. And the other thing it could be is, it could be because the timber is so hard, and we've got resin and timber in here, so we're hitting resin, we're hitting timber, we're hitting resin, we're hitting timber. and that can cause the tool to jump a little bit as well. And like I said, it is very, very hard, so it wouldn't surprise me if that's the crux of the problem, to be honest. But that's definitely a lot smoother. There's still probably a little bit in there that I want to try and get out, but it's a lot better than what it was before. Yeah, I think it's just the timber and the resin, the soft and the hard. It's a lot better everywhere else. There's just a little bit just in here. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll drop the tool rest down very low, and we'll tighten it up again. We'll bring it in a bit closer, and I'm going to put a parting tool mark in there now. So that's where I want my length to be. You can see how hard that is. It's actually burning up the tool there. Yeah, you get used to it after a wire razor. It doesn't happen all the time. I mean, some of the timbers and the resins cut quite smoothly. It's just when you start playing with different materials and the hard and smooth can create issues, and that's why you get that jumping. Sometimes you just got to get it the best you can, and then you've got to try and take the rest out with fairly coarse sandpaper till you get the roughness away. But certainly the Sony Handycams definitely give us better pictures, and you can see a lot more of the shape, a lot more detail than what you could with the GoPros. I mean, the GoPros are designed for action cameras, not this kind of action though. So you know, they're good for what they're used for, but they weren't really the best for this. But it's what I had to get started. And I've had to go and spend most of my hard-earned pennies from my brushes to actually be able to buy the new cameras. So, but if your stream's no good and you don't have the right shots and you're not catching what people want to see, then you're wasting your time. So you got to get that stuff right. So what I'm trying to do here now is, if you remember, we had that defect in the bottom of the handle where I was going to make the bottom. I can still see the defect as this is spinning, and I'm just trying to work away on that slowly now. So I'll stop the lathe and I'll just show you what I'm talking about. So we've got a little bit there that we need to take out, but that's nothing really. That's just part of the stabilising resin and the burl. And then as I come around, there should be a shiny bit. Yeah, there we go. So there's the shiny bit. So that was the little defect that I was talking about before. And if you remember, it went straight through the blank. So there's the start of it. and that little bit in the ridge there, in the ridge of this ring, that's the other part as it came through the blank. So that will get turned off shortly, and I've just got to keep shaping this now until that shiny bit disappears. So much like we done the last time with the sandpaper, when we were sanding the CA, and you know, we kept sanding and sanding until the shiny bits disappeared, and then once the shiny bits disappeared, we know we have our surface very flat, and then we can go to the next process, which is, you know, polishing and buffing and all that sort of thing. So once this disappears, that's us pretty much got where we need to be. So I'm going to continue with that now, just shaping that a little bit. I might put my bigger tool in there now, which gives me a bit more pressure on the material, easier. And I can see that shiny bit, just with the material turning here, I can see that shiny bit's getting less and less now. So it's not going to be too much more and that'll be gone. It's still there at this point. Just stop the lathe and show you, there's still just a tiny little bit still to go, and there it is there, just that tiny one little shiny bit there, which is again in line with that. So once that's gone, that's us pretty much done. Then we can go into sanding, tidying it up. Nearly. Almost there, if not there. Oh, would you believe it? There's just one tiny little ring there. You can see probably as it catches the light there. So once that's gone, that's us there. So a little bit more. I think we're almost there now. So that shiny bit should be gone now in this end, I think. Oh, there's just a tiny little speck there. I'll keep going till it's gone, but it's pretty much there. Sorry if I'm getting in the way of the camera there. I might flick you to the other shot and I'll just come over the top and have a look. I like to have a look at the shape, see where we're at shape wise. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I probably would have liked to have just rounded it off a little bit more in here, but I don't want to go too much more because then I'll start picking up the burl again further around here, and I want to try and keep that look in this handle. So I'll probably leave that there. Now I'm just going to go in and take a little bit off this ring. Till we get that other shiny bit away. I'll put you back to that one now. So there's that little shiny bit again. I just want to go until we get rid of that. And I think that's it gone now. Yep, gone. Oh, tiny little bit. That's that gone. And then I'm just going to come in there. I might bring the tool rest in a little bit closer. I'm just going to use the tip of the tool just to clean up that flat edge there and make it a little bit more V'd. That's all I want. And I'm just going to clean up that surface there. That's much better now, a lot smoother, looks a lot better. There's just a little line in here I want to have a look at, see if it's something I need to take out with a tool. Probably is, so I'll go in with a smaller tool, not that one, this one. I think it's where the resin and the burl is. That should be it. Let's have a look at that. I'm pretty happy with that. So we've managed to get a good handle out of that again, guys. That's the second one that were sort of experimental blanks, but when I say experimental, I mean the intention was to try and get a handle out of it, but they were experimental in the fact that if something went wrong, then you know, so be it. But we're actually going to get a nice little handle out of that. So let me just take this out now, because we're finished with that until we need it later at the end. And all I'm going to do with that now is we're pretty much ready to give that a sand, but I'll sit the plisson knot in there now. And I think that knot looks a ton better than what a tuxedo would have looked in there. And I think the loft on that, I mean, they are a lot softer, these ones, but they still have enough backbone to whip up a mean lather even with that loft. I mean, that loft in there at the moment as we're sitting is 54. I mean, I probably could take that down lower, but I'm thinking that's going to be quite a comfortable loft without it being too floppy and without it being too backbony as well. So yeah, I've added. I mentioned it in the previous live razor that I'd added a lot of different tracks in there now, and yeah, just to mix it up a bit, you know. And I have it on random, so it plays randomly. It doesn't. Let me just check that it's on the random. Yeah, it's on random, so it picks them at random and plays different tracks, so we don't get fed up listening to the same thing all the time, you know. So I'll spend a little bit of time in this curve here, because this curve was where that hard and soft was that we couldn't quite get out. Oh, there goes that bit of sandpaper. Bugger it, I'll just grab another bit. So for any guys that are in the stream that are not in the chat, I'm quite happy for you to be lurking in the background there. I would appreciate a subscribe if you haven't already subscribed to the channel. If you can subscribe to the channel and give us a like, click the little bell. That way you'll get reminded when I go live or when I post up new videos. So there's a bit of a line there. I want to check and see what's causing that line. Nothing really, it's just the sanding lines. So that's fine. Yeah, it's just all mix of music, mate. It's, like I said, it saves listening to the same ones over and over again. I've got quite a number in there now, so it'll play different ones randomly throughout the entire stream, and then obviously when we stream next it'll pick others, and it might pick some of the same and some other fresh ones that weren't in this stream, so gives us a bit of variety. Oh, something else, Razor, just while I remember, I'll probably, actually I'll leave it until we show the blanks, eh? How's that? I mean, I've got all these blanks all lined up here, the chameleon ones, and I've got the halo ones, and I've done a little bit more work to the halo ones, and I've got a couple of other castings there. I'll leave all that till the end, and then I'll bring all them out, we'll get them out, we'll let everybody see them, so try and hang around to the end, guys, and I'll show you all these new ones that I'm working on. Or if you need to go in and come back. Happy to answer any questions if anybody's got any questions, so just fire away if you've got any questions. I'm happy to answer them. Well, as long as I can, as long as I've got the answer for you. I'm happy to answer them. How's that shot looking in the camera? Is it a little bit blown out with the light, or is it okay at your end, or? Mind you, the handle is pretty white at the moment because, you know, we're still going through that sanding process, so. Well, I shouldn't forget it, mate. I've got it all lined up here to the side so I can show you it all. I'm quite pleased with the way they've turned out. I mean, obviously, it's always hard to tell what they're finally going to look like when they're in blank form, but I think they're going to be quite interesting, quite unusual. So, and again, this is where the custom part comes in. You know, is being able to make these things one-offs, rather as having. I mean, when you're playing with the resin, they're all one-offs as well because you're mixing different colours and you get different patterns and stuff. But when you start playing with resins and timbers, and it takes everything to a whole new level, you know. Okay, that'll do us for that grit. We're going to the next grit now. I'm just going to give inside the knot area a little bit of a touch up as well. I'll put the polish cutting compound in there later on for that as well, but because it's it's got a certain amount of clear in it, this, and because we've hollowed it out, that top section will be lighter, so you'll see more, because there'll be less of the halo effect in that top section, so you'll see more. But that's why I want to just give it a little bit of a sand as well, just to make sure it's as clear as we can get it. Well, I better finish the rest of my coffee, iced coffee I should say. And did you notice I put my new top on? I've had this top since 2018 and I've only used it a couple of times, and I thought, well, I should really put a smock on because it keeps all the crap off my clothes, and that's what it's for. And it has my name on it over here, look. So I thought I might as well wear it for the streams. It keeps the crap off my clothes. Grey Dog, good morning to you, mate. How you doing? I think I'm going to have to drop some CA in a spot here as well. I don't know if it's a bit of resin in the burl, or if it's what it is, or something to do with the stabilising. There's a little bit there that seems to be a little bit soft, more sort of gel-like. So I'll maybe have to drizzle a bit of CA on that and then knock it back. Just there, you can see I go to the if I go to that shot, oh, you may see it. Just where my finger is there's a couple of little defects. I don't know if it's in the resin or if it's in the timber, so I might have to give that a little bit of a touch up here and there. It's one of the it's a wood turning symposium. It's the biggest wood turning symposium in Australia, and the guy that runs it is fairly local to here, and he has it every year, and he has professional wood turners from all over the world come to do demonstrations at the event, at the symposium. And I've went to it for a couple of years. It's quite expensive, but I've went to it a couple of times now. This was the last time, back in, like I said, 2018, and I got a smock to remember the event. It was very good. It goes on for over a long weekend. I think it starts on like the Wednesday or the Thursday and goes right through till the Sunday, Monday or something like that. But most people go for the weekend, and we get people flying up from interstate, wood turners, you know, hobbyists, all that sort of thing, turn up from interstate and overseas. We get overseas visitors attend it as well. And like I said, it's the biggest wood turning symposium in Australia. A lot of people come over from the States, from the UK, France, I believe. And they're all well-known wood turners, professional wood turners throughout the world. And it's held in the it's held at the hotel, at SeaWorld, the Nara Resort. That's why it's got SeaWorld on there. It's very hard, this one. It's taken me a lot longer to get it where I want it. With the sanding, it's very, very hard. So I might give it a little bit of a touch up by hand now to get some of those radial marks out of it. And then I think once I do this, I should be able to go to the wet after this. I think the wet will bring it up. And then I just have to assess this part here, which feels a little bit rubbery. Doesn't even want to sand properly. I might have to drizzle some CA or something over the top of that, just to see what's happening there and to try and bind it up. But I think this is going to be quite an interesting looking little handle, to be honest, with the halo pigment in it. Get my little piece of rubber in there, just to give that edge a bit of a sand, a bit of a touch up. And I'll use it in there as well. It's always those detailed areas that take a bit more work, because if you don't do them, they show up in the finished product when you once you've buffed it up. So you got to make sure you get into all those little areas, make sure that they are all detailed properly, because you can't do it once you've gone past that point, you know, and you get it off the lathe. It's always harder to do it off the lathe than it is to do it on the lathe, so it's best to fix it straight away. And I think I'm almost ready to go to the wet now. And we'll give it a good rub up with the wet, but I might drizzle some CA over that first and see if we can firm it up and seal it and solidify it. And so I'll give it a good blow out. So you should be able to see that in the top view there, yeah? So I'm going to wipe that with a little bit of methylated spirits. Actually, I should give my computer and everything a blow off too, right? And my lovely wife got me some more kitchen towel because I ran out in the live stream, the last stream. Oh, Brett's home. Good, good. Well, you can sit back now, mate. Put the feet up. Sit back. Yeah, so that, I'm just going to drop a little bit of CA over that to try and firm that up, and whatever it is, I really don't know, but it's, whatever it is, it's a little bit rubbery, plasticky, whatever, so it's either from the resin or from the stabilising. But anyway, we'll drop a little bit of CA around there, and hopefully that'll firm it up a bit. We've got to put a bit more in, we can put a bit more in. It's no big deal, I should have put that down underneath it before I get too carried away. Just right on there, I want that there sealed. So I might get my activator, give it a bit of a squirt with the activator so that it sets over that particular point. If I can wipe the rest off first. And then if I just give that just to try and seal it over the top of whatever it is. Like I said, it just needs a bit solidifying, so I might just give that a sand and see if it's held up. So I'll just very quickly go through those grits on that part just to make sure we've got the excess CA away. Then we can have a look, see how it's going. That's where it is right there. It's still there. I'm just not sure if it's a resinous part in the timber or if it's the, like I said, been part of the stabilising resins, maybe not cured quite right, or even if it's the the epoxy resin that the burl is set in for the halo effect. It's nothing to do with the halo, but you know, it just feels soft. It feels like it doesn't want to harden. But we will get there one way or another, whether it likes it or it doesn't. That's better. That'll get it. And I'll just wipe that excess away from there. And if this doesn't fix it, we'll fix it when we come back to the to putting the CA over the top anyway. So I'm not overly concerned about it at this point in time, but it's easy to fix it now if we can. So let's speed that up again. We'll get a bit rougher paper on it again. So I don't know if you can hear that, but I can hear that making a noise, and it's that's it, just hitting the high spots of the CA. That's these spots here that you can see, that's where the CA is. We're getting there, we're getting better. And like I said, most of that it'll disappear now, I think, once we put the CA finish over the burl. I don't want to touch the top part of the handle because that's already been sanded, so it's just really because I've had to go back and just touch this bit of the handle up, but hopefully that's it fixed. I can still see a sort of patch there, but like I said, if it's still there near the end, then I'll give it a clean up and we'll apply CA. And but now I'll need to go through the grits again on that section just to bring it back to the same as the rest of the handle. So just quickly work my way through them, then we'll get to the wet paper. We'll give this one a little bit of a hand rub. Nearly there. Okay, there's that spot again right there. You see it? So these are the sort of things that can happen. You know, there's no reason, no rhyme or reason for that being there. I don't know what it is, what's caused it, but it can create a lot of extra work because, you know, when you touch up, you've got to go back and sand again, and then you've got to go through all the grits again. So, you know, it takes a lot longer, a lot more time, and unfortunately there's no quick way around it. You've just got to do it, you know. But I can't see any reason for it, but obviously there's something in there that has caused it to go like that. But hopefully we'll be able to work with it. We'll see how we go. It just means that things go a little bit slower. We've got a little bit more work to do to get it right. I'm hoping this little brush is going to be worth the view, guys. It should be, I think. I think it's going to turn out quite a nice little brush. All right. So I'm going to keep working, even though that little mark's there, I'm going to keep working with it now, and we'll just see what happens once we get through the wet sanding and the other grits, and we'll see what's what then. And if I need to go back and clean it and CA it again, then we'll do that as part of the CA finish once we get the handle prepared for the CA. I'm not going to let it stress me too much at the moment. And sometimes there's, you know, sometimes you get little things like that happen, but you know, it doesn't matter what you do to it, you can't get it out. So then what you've got to try and do is get it looking as natural as a defect as possible. You know, if it's in the wood, I mean, if it's in the resin, well, there's not much you can do, except maybe fill it with CA and hope that it goes away and disappears. In some cases it does. When you fill, like if you get little air bubbles in your resin, sometimes you can actually fill those little air bubbles with CA, and the whole bubble just disappears. You don't see it after that. And then there's other times where it doesn't matter what you do them, you can't get it to go away. So you've either got to work it to get it to go away, or you've got to reject the handle, or, you know, see if you can use part of it for another handle, or break it up and use it in another handle. Or, I mean, a lot of my acrylic offcuts and any handles that I'm not happy with, they get cut up into little pieces and then cast into another handle. So you know, I try and minimize my amount of waste that I have, because resin is expensive, and you can get some nice looking effects doing different things like that. So that's what I try and do. Let me just put that lid back on that for a tick. Right, we'll go to the wet paper now, and we'll see how we go with that. I didn't top up my water, fresh water, so give me 2 seconds, guys. I'll just go and get some fresh water. I'm back. Okay, that's us. So I'm just going to slow it down a bit. Is the stream still coming through okay, guys? Just I've got a silly message on my screen here which I haven't seen before. Okay, it's just I've got a note saying there's an error. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience... Oh, it's gone now. I don't know, I've never seen that one before. You should get a better look at this one now, guys. Now that I've started the wet sanding, it'll dry and go a bit dull again because there's powder all over it, but you should get a decent view of that halo type pigment that's in the resin now. That's the only thing we have in these bloody good cameras, you lot. You get to see all the secrets now before I reveal it at the end, aye? I'll get rid of that cloth and get another one. I'll put that in the bin over there. Yep. So that's, I mean, it's still down now. That's going to come up really shiny, and we're going to still see the burl through that, and then we're going to get that halo effect. This is the gold halo, this one. So I thought it looked quite nice with the burl, and then obviously, like I said, you know, that's one of the reasons why I went with the Plissoft knot, because I think the colour looks a lot better with that than it would have done with a tuxedo. So that's that. So now we'll go through the soft pads, and we'll try and get it to come up a little bit better again. And we'll poke in through the recess as well and try and shine up that side wall. Good to see you guys are having a good chat in there, fellas. That's what it's all about. Bit of a social event, as well as a bit of brush making and whatever else we decide to do on here. As you can see, I had a nice shave today. The head got cleaned up and the face got cleaned up. I was starting to look like Father Christmas again. I always feel scruffy when I've got a bit of growth. But I don't like shaving every day. So you know, I might go for sometimes 3 or 4 days, sometimes I'll go for a week or 2, and then I'll have a nice shave and take the lot off and clean up. And believe it or not, my daily brush that I use is a little synthetic. If I do have more regular shaves or I'm having a quick shave, I use a little acrylic brush that I made, one of my first brushes I made actually, or in the first lots. And it's got a little Plissoft knot in it, and geez, I'll tell you what, it works wonders, aye. Mixes up a lather in no time, you can get it straight to the face. Face lather, don't have to worry about the bowl, face lather, works up a real mean lather real quick, and then shave it off. Okay, that's the first one of them. Are you talking about the Wolfman razors there, Grey Dog, are you? Yeah, I've seen them fetching some funny bloody money for a long time now as well. I think a lot of overseas, a lot of Russian guys, but I think there was a lot of fakes getting around too. I always wanted a Wolfman back in my earlier days, but I've sort of given up on it now. It was just too hard to get on the list, and you didn't get any answers back to emails and stuff like that, so I just gave up on it in the end. I gave up on the idea of ever owning one. I'll just flick you guys to a different shot now for a little while. Put you to that one. Don't mind me, I'm just making brushes. You guys chat on. Oh, rubbing that pad. I mean, the beautiful workmanship. I mean, he does an absolutely wonderful job with them. I mean, they are a first-class razor, top quality, handmade, well, machine made, but handmade type thing. might just give that a little bit of a hand rub now as well. Okay. Yeah, I think he's had someone helping him for quite some time now, James at Wolfman Razors. I think he took on somebody quite some time back. Yeah, it's starting to shape up, Brett. Grey Dog. We'll be turning it round shortly, hopefully. The CA will probably get done once it's turned around, because there's no timber in the top section, it's only in the bottom section. There's a tiny little bit in here. But even that, I should be able to get that part once we turn it around, hopefully. Rami, just answering your question, mate. Yeah, you should be able to do something like that, mate. If it's a case of filling the inside and then resetting a knot in it, yeah, probably could be done. I think the only issue you'll have is depending on the size of the rhodium, because being that the knots are so dense and they take on so much water that they're prone to expanding quite dramatically. So the material's got to be strong enough to actually prevent the knot from cracking the blank. I've had that happen. Actually, it happened on razors, brush that I made razor, where the force was so great from the density of the knot when it took on water that it actually separated the burl and the resin apart. Now that's no reflection on what I'm doing now, because I've changed the processes, but that handle that I made for Resin should have stayed together. Now if it had been any other knot or a synthetic, it would never have split apart. The only reason it split apart was the fact that the rhodium knots, the bigger rhodium knots, just the fact that they're so dense and the amount of water that they take on, they do expand quite dramatically, and the forces that exceeds on the timber or in a joint, which is obviously your weakest part normally, they've got that much force in them that they can actually split the handle. So with your horn handles, depending on what you're doing with it or how big you need to fill or whatever, you'd need to be very, very careful that there was enough support to support the size of the knot to make sure that it doesn't actually split the resin away from the horn. Yeah, that would be my only concern, right? It would be something that we would need to, if you wanted to go down that path, it would be something that we would need to discuss probably a bit further, and we'd probably have to discuss it with Serjan and just get his input on it as well before we actually said, right, okay, let's do it. And if he thinks it's worth doing, then yeah, we could do it, mate. No problem at all. But we'd need to go down that path first and make sure that it wasn't going to present any problems. In the bin, missed. Right, how are we looking? Jesus, it's looking pretty good. Pretty good. All right, well maybe just go a little bit of this stuff on it for now, and then we'll I think we're right that we can turn it around. That part in the burl's virtually, oh, it's still there a little bit, but it's virtually gone, but I think we'll lose that with CA. Once we apply our CA, I think we'll lose that. And that's probably enough for the whole brush. Okay, nice and slow to start with. Yeah, you wait till you see it finished, Brett. She's going to look pretty special, mate. And I'll show you all the castings that I've done in the last couple of days as well. I'll show you all them near the end of the stream. So you can get a better look at what I'm doing, where I'm heading with different things. You got to keep playing around and trying different things and coming up with new ideas, and you know, a lot of people just get set in their ways and they just produce one sort of type or one style. I like to vary it and mix it up a bit. try different things, new things. Yeah, I can't be as cheap as some people because as much as I'd like to be cheaper, because I'd probably sell more, but I can't be as cheap as some people because, well, you can see the amount of time and work I put into them. And these types of handles, acrylics, you can, you know, there's a certain amount of cost in the blank, which is never normally too expensive. You've got a bit of pigment, you only use a little bit of pigment with each handle, and you know, the costs are fairly minimal, and then you can turn a fairly straightforward resin one pretty quickly. But when you start messing around with different materials, the costs start to escalate, the time escalates really. It's not so much the cost, although the timber is getting harder and dearer to get now, decent, especially to get decent stuff. That's getting harder and harder. And then when you start getting into unusual pigments and all that sort of thing, you know, the costs just keep adding and going up. But I try and keep them as cheap as I possibly can, but when I look at how much time I put in them, it's very, very hard. I'm probably still underselling myself when I, even on most of my brushes that I put on the website, I'm probably still underselling myself for the amount of time and effort that goes into them and the cost of the materials that goes into them, but I try my best, you know. Alright, well, I think I'm ready to turn this around. You can see how dark this timber is in this one as well. That's because this is stabilised as well, so that's why the timber's so hard. You can see on the bottom of this one here, you can see where the resin's sort of stabilised into the timber as well. You can see how you've got the difference in the materials there. Anyway, let's keep cracking on, eh? I'll sit out there for now. We'll take this chuck out. We'll put my big chuck in. And I need the bigger key to tighten this in. Now this one doesn't have a big recess, so I'm only in by, what was the depth we went, 12 mil? So I've only got 12 mil of material holding on the chuck in this one. So I just need to be fairly careful. That's spinning reasonably true. And that'll probably do me. I don't want to go splitting it. But I do want plenty of support because this timber is hard, aye. So I'm going to come in fairly close. I'm going to drop the tool rest right down. Hopefully you can, well, you won't see what I'm doing with the tool rest and everything, but hopefully you can see what's going on there. I might go back to that shot, and that might let you see me parting off in here anyway. I'm just going to have to take my time with the parting because this timber is very, very hard. I might even just give this a little touch up with the diamond card before we get too carried away. So we can sit that there and I can just touch this up. And that should be enough. Just before it gets too carried away, we'll lock the tailstock in place, and we'll give it a bit of support there. Take up the speed a bit, and now we'll just go in and part off. There we go. And there's how much waste we get off the blank. So there's not a lot of waste. Some blanks have a bit more waste off. I'll talk to you about that later, Brett. I know you were asking some questions and putting forward a few ideas, but we'll talk about that later. I'll just crack on with this at the moment. Alright, so I'm going to stop that till I check that I've got my height right for the spindle gouge. Yeah, I need to go a bit more. I think I've got my hollow right, but still a bit of resin and stuff. Oh, probably a little bit more yet. Yep. Probably should have you on that other shot for this one as well. You'll see what I'm doing with the tool. So I'm using the edge of the tool and the very point of the tool to hit centre. If I go too far, if I go past centre, the tool will pick up and the material will throw the tool back down on the tool rest. And you can end up with a bad catch and causing the brush to come loose from the chuck. So we don't want that to happen. And that's much better. And then we'll catch the rest of that. We'll round that off, or maybe even just give that a little bit of a light touch with the skew, just to sort of put a little touch in that. So we'll get the skew very lightly because, again, you don't want it coming out the chuck. So you can see the shavings I'm taking off there, they're just little angel hairs. And that should do that. Now I'll have another look. Yeah, pretty happy with that. So what I'll do now is I'll give that all a bit of a sand up now. Check the hollow. Should have enough hollow in it now. Yep, we've got plenty of hollow in there now. And we'll just go through the sanding process for this now. And I just get a feel of that handle, it's quite comfortable. Feel if there's any sharp edges, take them out, just soften them over. But that's what I've done with the skew, was just round that over, take the sharp edge off so it's a little bit more comfortable in the hand. And now I'm just sweetening it back in. And I'll just give it a little bit of a lick by hand as well. I must have slipped with the sandpaper there because I've put a few marks in here again, so I'm going to have to touch that up again as well. But that'll come up with just the pads, I think. So this is my, that's me grabbing that handle, feeling how it feels in the hand, and it's quite comfortable. So that's all good. Just want to make sure that we don't leave any deep scratches in there because we need to get them out now. I'm still not 100% happy with that little soft spot that we have in there. Yeah, try and get the brushes on the website, unless they're already pre-sold obviously, but try and get them up on the website as quickly as I can, but sometimes it does take me a while before I actually get around to putting them up, So they sit in my cabinet. I've got a display cabinet in what used to be my shop for the pen business, and I sort of set them in a cabinet. I've got a glass display cabinet in there, and I sit them in there for a while, and then I eventually think, oh yeah, I should really put them up for sale. And then I put them up on the website. But I got the last couple up on there, I think. There's probably still a couple in the cabinet that I should really put up as well, but one day. Okay, that's 3. Be a lot happier if I could figure out what that is. It's just like it's like resin that hasn't cured or something. I don't know why. Whether it be the stabilizing resin or whether it be the epoxy resin. Can't work it out. But we will fix it one way or another. Okay. Sorry about the compressor, guys, it's just kicked in. I must have a little very slow air leak. Oh, mind you, I have used the air as well, so it's the first time it's kicked in today, or tonight I should say. Okay, that'll do them. Now I'll go to the wet. We'll just wet up the bottom. And then I'll put the recess in for the coin. Slow that down, it's going too fast. Now, because this burl is stabilised, I probably really don't need to coat it in CA. I could probably buff it and it should come up fairly shiny with the buff because it's got resin already embedded in it. But I'll probably do that. I'll probably take it over to the buffing wheel shortly and I'll give it a buff and I'll see what I think. But if I'm not happy with it, then I'll put CA over the whole handle where the timber areas are anyway, and then we'll have to go through the sanding process again just to take the CA down to a flat finish. But we'll see how we go when it comes off the buffer. But I'm thinking that I may still put some CA on it, so we'll see how we go, eh? Oh, I need to go through the pads now on the bottom very quickly. Okay. Well, I think the fact that this handle's got the gold halo in it, it's probably going to go in the timber. It's probably going to go better with a brass, antique brass one in it, I'd say, straight off the bat. Or, like Harrell said, you could get away with no coin in this one as well. And just have the beauty of the wood on the underside of the handle. So we do have that option. I definitely think that if we do go with a coin, I think it would have to be the antique brass though, because I think the antique silver wouldn't look anywhere near as good in it, I think, with the gold and the colour of the wood. The wood is darker than the previous one that I've done as well, because obviously this has been stabilised to the extreme. So total saturation. So basically it turns the wood into plastic, really. Well, impregnated with resin is I guess the correct terminology. It's impregnated with resin. So what are we? We're at 2 hours and 15 minutes. So we're getting up there, and it's not finished yet. So we may have to finish it and then resand it. But anyway, we'll see how we go with it. I do want to take it over the buffer and give it a buff before we go too far as well. Just to see if the timber is going to come up nicely, or if I do need to put the CA on it. I'm thinking CA though, because CA will just bring it to the next level. Right, last pad for a little while. Only early, yeah, it is, mate, it is. The wife's on her day off tomorrow, so she'll probably be sitting up later tonight, waiting on me to go in so she can make me a nice cup of coffee. And then I normally sit down and watch the video back, but I don't watch the whole thing. I just fast forward sections, just check the sound, check the music, all that sort of thing. I had to modify the last one. I think somebody remembered me. I don't know if it was Razor or if it was you, Brett. I'd left the microphone on when I went inside, so I had to go in and just take that. Not that there was anything inappropriate or anything there, but I had to go in and take that out of the video at the end. I just clipped the end off and cut it short. That's because I got the lavalier mics now, and I mean I can turn it off on the audio mix, and I think that's where I went wrong. I didn't turn it off on the audio mixer, and of course the lavaliers were still working. So should be sounding a lot clearer now as well with the lavalier, because I've pinned it to the smock up higher, and I've got it pointing up as well, whereas before it was pointing to the side. So I noticed that sometimes the machine noise was higher than my voice level was high. So that should be corrected now. We should have a reasonable constant voice level through the mic now, hopefully. So I'm just going to give this another little dry off. I'm just trying to make up my mind whether I drill this for the coin or whether I leave it. I'm still thinking it would look nice with a coin in the bottom. Even although I don't, you know, I've always been an advocate of not putting coins in my brushes, because I think it spoils the brush, but a lot of people do want it. You'd be surprised how many people want them, you know. Right, okay, so I'm reasonably happy with all that. So what I might do is I might take it off and take it to the buff, and we'll see how it buffs up, and then we can determine from there whether we need to CA finish it or not, and we'll take it from there. So guys, I'm just going to turn my mic off. I'll turn the music up a little bit, and I'll go and buff this, and then I'll be with you in 3 or 4 minutes. Just be back soon, guys. Cheers. Just reset the volumes for you here, guys. Should be back to how it was. So I'm just going to put this back on the lathe, and just going to put a little bit of final polish on it now, and then we'll have a look and see what we think. Some of the blue buffing compound sticks to it. I think that might do me. Okay, so I'm going to go with that little paste one again first, over the whole thing. This one. And then I'm going to go over it with my polish. And what was the consensus? Coin? No coin? What was the consensus? I'll take you to another view in a minute. I'll just get this polish on all over it. I can see we're going to have an even Stevens. Half will want it, half won't. Then we still can't make up our mind. Right, let's just slow that up and we'll work that in. Like I said, if we go with a coin, it's going to have to be antique brass, because that's the only one that's going to go with it. Okay, well it looks like we're going to go with an antique brass then, eh? Okay. Right, there's one little spot that I'm not happy with, and it's that little spot that we had all the problem with. And I think if I do this, I'm probably going to get rid of it. So it will mean going back to the buffer, but one little spot, but this will fix it. Okay, back to the buffer we go, guys, just for a minute or so, shouldn't be too long. Thanks. That's better. All gone. Done. Much happier. All right, so back on here for the final polish. And then I'll give you a look. We can set the, oh, I'm going to put the coin in it, haven't we? So we better do that next. We'll do that next before we get too carried away. Okay, so we need to take that out. We need to put this in. Slow it down. Okay, we'll give it a start. Take it back to 0. This wood is really hard, I'm telling you. That'll do it. Knockout bar. All right. Now I'm probably going to have to just re-tidy up the bottom a little bit as well, but it shouldn't be too bad. Just want to have a look at that now. Okay, I suppose I better get a coin out. silver. So far the antique brasses have been more popular, but I guess it just depends on the colours. I mean, I've been doing a fair bit of the timber burl of late, so I think once I get back to some of the coloured acrylics, I think a lot of them will be the silver, because the silver will go with a lot more colours better than what the antique brass will. So fairly happy with that. Now what I might do is I might just lightly drizzle a little bit of CA in that very hole in the bottom, just so that we make sure that she's all sealed up well. And I'll drizzle a little amount. My CA is closed up. I did go pretty heavily today. You'll see why in a little while when I show you these other blanks, and that's probably why it's clogged up. I obviously didn't clean it properly, the nozzle, before I put the cap on it. So I'm just going to put a little bit in there and then just drizzle very lightly around the blank. So that the timber soaks that CA up. And once it's had a couple of minutes just to soak in, I'm just going to give it a wipe with this paper towel and take any of the excess out. And also just give the bottom of the brush around that bottom edge a little bit of a wipe. And then we'll buff, and then we'll set the coin in, and we're done. Okay, so then we'll get into the fun stuff that you have probably been all waiting and dying to see, and I've kept it to the bloody last minute, haven't I? Right, I'm just going to go and give this a quick buff, guys, so be right back. Okay, we're back. She's all done. I'm happy with that. So what I might do is I'll take this chuck off. Oh no, we're still going to polish, so that's fine. We'll leave it there. We're still going to polish. So I'll get my glue board. I'll put the final polish on now before we start playing around with the coin and the knot. Right, a little bit of polish. Yeah, like I said, Harel, the antique silver will look better with a lot of the colours and the resins. I think when I'm working with these burls and these particular colours, I think they're better suited to the antique brass, most definitely. By the way, that little mark that we had in there earlier, it's gone. That was why I had to do that little bit of light sanding and then go back to the buff, and it's just taken that. It was actually a little CA lump in the end, and because it was higher than the rest of the handle, so it was still looking like it was there, but it was actually gone. It was just the fact that it was a bump. So once I gave it a light sand by hand and then put it on the buffer with a bit of compound on it again, it's basically disappeared now. So I really don't know what caused it in the first place. It was just like, it was like resin hadn't cured, whether it be the stabilizing resin or whether it was the casting resin. I don't know, but anyway, it's gone now, so we're all good. And I'll show you that in a minute. This is going to be a stunning little handle, actually. So nice and slow, just to work the polish in. Keep it out the bottom there. I'll take you to that shot. You'll see the polish coming up on it now, getting a nice high shine there. And if I go to 3, you'll see it top down now. This one is a 26mm plus soft. I didn't measure it out the handle. I'll check that when I take it off the chuck here. I'll check it and tell you what it is out the handle. It's probably around about 27, 28 out the handle, I think, from memory. Now I'm just going to speed it up a bit and just work that in. I don't want to press too hard or anything like that because I don't want it coming off the chuck at this stage. That'd be disastrous. Okay, so we'll take that off now since we're done. Yep, all done. In reverse. And I'll put my little trusty glue board in place. Move that back further so we can definitely get it in shot. Jam it in with that one. And I'll sit the brush there. Get that out the way for now. Right, now I just need to give the bottom of the brush a little bit of a touch up, just to roughen it up so we get a good bond with the epoxy when we put the handle in the socket. And then I just like to just give it a bit of a scrape round the side of the glue plug as well. Just lightly. I don't know if any of you's watched Nick's video on badger knots on the Facebook page, TAWSE twas. He done quite a nice review on the some of the things to look for in badger, higher end badger knots, etc. This is going to look absolutely superb, this knot inside there. Now I need to get myself a mixing stick. So I've got one here, and we'll get my epoxy out. Look for another spot on the board. I'll get this set, guys. We'll set the coin, we'll set the brush, the knot I should say. Once I can get this glue out, you can tell it's getting colder up here, aye. This bloody epoxy's getting harder and harder to get out. That should be enough of part A. Part B. So I normally set I normally set the coin first, because if I do need to push it in, I can use the tailstock and the chuck to actually set the coin in place if it needs a gentle press in, which sometimes it does. That should do it for the coin, I think. And it's going to need a press in, so let's act fairly quickly. Get that out the way, put that out the way, take that away for a sec. Stick the handle back in. A little bit of paper towel over the end. I think what actually causes that is when I put the CA in there, it just takes that little bit more. And sometimes it's the glue. The glue creates a trapped air pocket underneath the coin, and you can't push it in by hand. I mean, that went in really easy there. I didn't have to put much pressure on it at all, and that's probably all that's needed now. That's probably in there now, which it is. So yeah, it just depends. Sometimes it's the glue, and other times it's the CA. But I'm just going to check that again now and just give it another little press just to make sure that it is properly home. It seems to be home, but we'll just check. So we'll lock that off again. Just make sure that it's in all the way, which I think it is now. Back her off, and then we'll give it a clean up. Yeah, she's in all the way. That's it. So she's done. So again, I'll get a little bit of methylated spirits now. I don't know if you are seeing that. Sorry, I was working away quite fast there, and I just wanted to get that coin set in, and I'll just give this a quick wipe, and then we'll set the knot with the same glue, because it should still be soft at this point. But I do want to give that just a quick wipe so that there's no excess glue anywhere. And that's that done. So we'll whack that away. I'll get my trusty board up again. Lock it in so we don't have any mishaps. Lock it in. Right, that's that done. So now we're going to do the knot. And again, I just spread the glue out, making sure I'm getting it into the corners and a little bit up the sides as well. Just so that, again, we're not relying just on the glue in the bottom of the knot to hold the knot in place. We'll actually get some up the sides as well. And a fairly even spread layer around the bottom. Just get the last of that. Dollop in the middle, and then what I have left I'll just smear onto the bottom of the knot. A little bit up the side, around the side of the knot. And we're done. So holding the knot fairly firmly. Actually, I should go to the main shot here for this. So holding the knot fairly firmly, keeping the fibres together, and then on an angle, put the knot in. Work it around a little bit. Again, keeping a firm grip of the fibres. And all I'm doing is just working that knot in and making sure we're getting good contact with the glue everywhere. Set that up there out the way. I think the knot probably could have gone in just another mil or two, but I didn't want to make it too tight out of the top of the handle. Now, there she be. A little bit of dust coming out of it. We'll get a close shot up of this so that you can see the halo, and you can see the burl on the inside. You'll get to see the timber better. I haven't put the CA on it because I think the timber has polished up just nicely, and it leaves it kind of still looking fairly natural. There's a couple of cracks in it, but those cracks are filled with stabilising resin anyway. So let me just go to one of the other shots. Probably we'll go to camera 2, I think. I think camera 2 is probably going to show this fairly well. So There's the burl. And like I said, it's shiny, but it's got a naturally look to it, not like what the CA does and gives it a real high glassy gloss finish. And there's the halo. Now the camera's, I'm looking at the picture in front of me here, and the camera's picking up the halo in it, but it's not actually showing what I can see. I can actually see different swirls in the halo within the handle, and that's why it's called halo. But you're seeing, you know, I mean, even if I bring it closer, I don't know if you're going to actually get to see it properly. Yeah, it's not showing the halo in it, the halo effect, but you can see what the look is. So you can still see inside that and see the burl, which again is not showing up as well on the camera, but trust me, you can see the burl inside there. Might try the head down shot and see if that shows anything else. So there you go, and then there's the burl all the way around. It's very nice actually. I'm very pleased with that, and I think the choice of using the plisson or the plissoff knot for that as opposed to a tuxedo, I think has really set that off. And then obviously you've got the coin in the bottom there, and again that's recessed below the surface, so it'll sit flat, as you can see there. And when it sits flat, this is metal, so you would hear it clunk if it was hitting the coin. There's no, that's the timber you're hearing, not the coin. I'm pretty pleased with that. There's a little bit of resin shining through on the bottom edge of the brush there as well, that you can see with the halo in it, the gold. So there you go guys, there's another custom TF custom brush made in the live stream. These are just so soft on the tips, but they've got so much backbone in them. Just let me go back to that shot. I mean, the tips of this are just so soft, they're absolutely gorgeous. But there's still a lot of backbone there, even although I've set this one, you know, at the height I've set it at, which was, I think I said 54, somewhere in a bit there, yeah. Well, actually, it's nearly 53, 54, yeah, so, yeah, 53 it's probably closer to, but oh, it's just absolutely beautiful. There you go, look at that. Anyway, it is a nice brush. I'll take a couple of photographs and I'll post them up as soon as I can once we finish up and I go inside and have a coffee. So I'll just sit that up here out the way for now. Very pleased with that, and I'm really pleased to see what's got, well, I will be really pleased when I see what these other ones make. So let's just get on it now. Now, let me just grab my stabilization chamber, or one of my stabilization chambers. Now, unfortunately, I can't take the burls out and show you them, but I do have a couple here aside that I'll be able to show you. Now, I'm just going to turn this camera here around, guys. The one, sorry, camera 2. I'll need to change cameras here for a tick. So I'm just going to turn this camera around and I'll zoom it out so that we'll get a better idea. And I'm just going to turn this camera around, hopefully. Sorry for the light. And that there is my stabilizing chamber, which is full of resin at the moment. And just in behind the chamber there, the red and silver, that's my vacuum pump. So I can't, like I said, I can't show you the resin at the moment, but inside here, this is pretty much 3/4 full, and there's an anti-float plate in the top which keeps the burl down, and it keeps it totally submersed. Now I normally put this vacuum pump on it and I'll leave it run for quite a period of time, and I might do that quite a few times. And what that's doing is it's pulling all the air out of this pot, or out of the timber I should say, under vacuum, and then basically when it pulls the air out, it's actually impregnating the timber and drawing the resin into the burl. So I've got a full tub in here. I've already done 2 lots, and this is the 3rd lot. Some of these ones are slightly bigger blanks for making bigger handles, but they'll go through this vacuum process 2 or 3 times, and then they'll get left to sit for probably about a week when they're not under vacuum, and that's allowing them just to soak in the resin a longer period of time. Because they're slightly bigger pieces, it will take longer. But this vacuum pump's pulling about minus 34 Hg. So you know, it's a very, very strong little pump. It's a good quality. It's a Rothenberger pump, and it pulls this down. So that's the stabilising. So I've got stabilising well and truly underway now with the stabilising resin. So I just wanted to let you see that. That's one of my chambers. That's one of the smaller chambers I have. I have a couple of other bigger chambers, and I'll have a couple of smaller chambers as well. So let me just turn this camera around again now, guys, so that I've showed you that, so you know what the stabilising is now and what goes into that. Let me just get this camera all set back up. So there we go, we're almost there. Probably round that way a little bit. Probably about there. I can always adjust it later, and I'll tighten up that one as well. Okay, so that's the stabilising. That's, like I said, that's well and truly happening now. So all my timber handles will be fully stabilised now. Even if it's burl, and people say that burl sometimes they're hard to stabilise, but they will be getting stabilised, and that means they're just impervious to any water, and it's the right way to do it. And I'm hoping, and it should be the case, that when I stabilise the timber, because it's actually stabilised with resin, the resin, when I cast the rest of the blank with clear or a tinted colour or whatever, that will actually bond better to the stabilised wood than what it would if it was just wood without any stabilisation. So should give me a lot securer contact, surface to surface, resin to wood. So that area should be all good now. I'll show you what it looks like. Now I'm going to bring this one up because this one is going to be Razor's new handle. So I've got this this mould ready. I've got a piece of burl cut to go in that, and this piece of burl has been stabilised as well. As you can see on the back here, there's some evidence of, actually go to camera 2, you can see in there there's evidence of dried, baked hard resin there now, and you can see the colour in the timber is really dark. And again, if I show you a piece that's unstabilised, so you can see there's the dark one that's stabilised, there's the light one that's not stabilised, and even in the material you can see there's the natural face of the burl there, there's the natural face of this burl, so it's much, much darker. Yeah, so all round that's the stabilised. These get quite heavy when they're stabilised as well because they've taken on a lot of resin. So let me just take you to the next step now. So this one, like I said, I'm hoping that this one here will be used for Razor's replacement handle. So this will get now coated with chameleon pigment, and what I'm actually doing as well is, based on what happened with Razor's last brush, the pigment, which is a UV resin, had separated and pulled away from the black acrylic paint. So the black acrylic paint was still stuck to the burl, and the chameleon pigment UV resin was attached to the acrylic. So what I'm doing is I'm doing away with that black acrylic now, take one of the things out of the equation. Because this is impregnated with resin now, when I put the chameleon UV resin on it, it'll bond better to this than what it did to the black acrylic paint. and then basically, because it's UV resin, it'll then bond to the epoxy resin when it gets cast into a square or a rectangular blank. So I'm hoping that that's going to cure any issues with this. But the other thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to try and stay clear of having bigger badger knots set into the handle where you've got a mix of half resin, half timber, because that's just asking for trouble as far as the knot pulling apart, or sorry, the knot expanding underwater and causing the two materials to separate. Should be a lot stronger now with resin straight to stabilised blank. Should be much stronger now, so hopefully that shouldn't happen. But I'd rather, at this point, until I get a few more experiments done and a few more trials, I'd rather go the other way and have the knot set in resin, and then have the chameleon and the burl in the lower section of the handle. So that's what I'm hoping to do with this one. So Razor, this is the one that I've put aside for you, mate, and that's how that'll sit. That's how that'll sit in the mold. Let me get that in position there. So as you can see, it's taken up 1/4 of the mold there. So once that's painted with the chameleon colours, then it'll get cast in clear, and the clear will come right up to the top of the mold. And then basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset Razor's big 30mm rhodium knot in the top section, which will be up this end of the blank, and the knot will be fully set in resin. So then we shouldn't get the separation and the knot pushing the two materials apart, just to be on the safe side. I think that's going to be a much better way to go, and I think we could go the other way and we could say, right, well, let's bed it in timber, but sometimes timber can have fault lines in its grain lines. So I'd rather stay clear of that and go with the resin and set the knot in the resin. Now, another thing I'm going to look at is with the UV resin and the pigment, because we're setting into clear resin, I might actually use some of the UV and the chameleon pigments, and I might actually paint around the knot, and then just a light coating, and then once it's set in the clear, then hopefully we'll get a little bit of pigment in where the knot is, instead of seeing, you know, just the glue basically bonding the knot to the clear resin, clear handle. So a couple of little things I want to do. I just thought I'd run it by Razor tonight and let them see where it's at this point in time. So this is stabilised. All I've got to do is paint the pigments on it. I almost got it done today, but I just fell a little bit short in time. So that'll be the next process. Then it'll get cast in the clear, and then we'll pop it out the mould and we'll turn another handle. So that's where it's at, mate. So just keeping you up to date, and everybody else up to date with what's happening with these burl blanks. So put that one aside. Now, I don't know if the camera is going to show this. Don't know if the camera's going to show these up, but I've got some stabilised burl aside now that I do have the chameleon on, so I'm just going to show you them for now. So you probably won't see them in that shot, but you'll see them in the top-down shot when I go to the top-down shot. So I've done a few different colours. Let me go to camera 3 now. There they are. Now you probably won't see them too well in the cameras. I don't know, the lights in here might be playing havoc. They're not showing the colours quite as strong as what they look in the natural daylight out in the sun. And the other thing is, what I found with the previous chameleon blanks that I'd done is that the colours really start to pop out once you set them the other half of the other half of the blank in clear resin. The colours really pop out then. So I'll try this on a couple of different cameras just to see if we can get the colours. You can see there's a bit of purpley blue in there. There's sort of like a lighter greeny blue in it as well. And then if I turn it round the other way, or certain ways, you'll see that it changes to a reddy colour, violet colour. So that's one of the chameleons. Now this chameleon is the same one that was used on Razor's other brush, so this will be the one that I'll probably end up using again. I mean, the colours in it, I'm seeing the colours absolutely pop in my face, but I just don't think, because of the lights and because of the cameras, I just don't think it's quite picking it up. Or you might be getting it, you might be getting some of it. So that's a piece of stabilised burl. Again, you can see little bits of the hard resin around the edge of the blank here, but that resin will be rock hard. It's impregnated right through that. You can see, and there's a little fault line in the burl here in this one. Most of that will get turned off because the corners will be rounded off anyway when the brush is turned. But even so, you'll probably find if we go below the surface in that crack, it'll be filled with resin anyway, stabilised resin. But other than that, the block is solid. Like, it's really, you know, that's me just tapping it down on the bed of the lathe. I mean, you can tell it's just solid and heavy. But the colours in it is just beautiful. It's just really amazing. And like I said, once the clear goes on it, it'll pop again and you'll see more colour. This is another one that I've just done. This one's got a real electric green in it, certain ways that the light catches it. I think one of the other colours in it is grey, and I think there's a sort of reddy in this. I can't quite remember now, but I think there's a sort of a reddy colour in this as well, or a purpley violety colour. But the greens are what's outstanding. The electric green, there you can probably see it in that shot there. The electric green and more so in any of the high points, you can see it. And then the grey sort of comes in and pops in a bit here and there as well. And it should be quite stunning when it's done. And then we've got this one here, which is this has got a fair bit of purple in it, and I think grey in it as well. And I'm not sure what the other colour is, if it has another colour in it. And again, you can see there's hard resin baked around the edge when it's been in the oven. But again, the timber is absolutely saturated. You can see the resin here as well, the chameleon resin, but the blanks are just solid. So definitely no chance. Now, I did weigh these as dry blanks, like when I took them at my little box here after I'd cut them up. And this particular one, you can, well, you might not see it in the camera. Let me get in the right spot. Yeah, you can see the writing there, 90 grams. So what I've done was I weighed the blank before I put it in the oven, and then I put it in the oven and baked them at about 190 degrees for a period of time. And then I checked the weight. The weight had actually gone down. Obviously, it had lost moisture content. And then I put it in the chamber, and in the stabilising chamber, put it under vacuum, let it soak, put it under vacuum, let it soak. Done that 2 or 3 times. And then in the end, I took it out, baked it in the oven, which makes it go hard, that makes the resin go hard. And it was actually up by about 10 grams in weight from the light weight after it had been dried. So all up, it probably lost about 20-25 grams. Well, it's gone up 25 grams from dry weight since it's been impregnated with the resin. So lets you know that it's soaked up resin. So that's that one. And then we've also got this one, which is it's kind of similar to the one that I showed you before, sitting down here. It's very similar to that one, but this one has more sparkle in it because I put some of the halo in it, some of the black, which was called black halo, and it's actually got different colours in it. So when it's in the sunlight, it's absolutely stunning. You're not seeing much colour change in it there, probably a little bit, but hopefully you can see that it's a little bit more sparkly than this one. Although it looks the same in the camera, so it's hard to tell. But the colours, there's more colours, so you get little pops of red and blue and green and yellow. And so again, once it's in the clear, I'm expecting that those colours will pop even more, you know. So that's the 4 that I've got ready to be cast in clear. I've not made any plans as to when I'm going to actually cast them in clear yet. This was one of the other ones that I'd done some time ago. Excuse me for the blank, because it's an ugly looking blank. I done this one, cast this one in the core flute. I'm going to move away from the core flute and I'm going to make up some other moulds. But you can see the colour changing in this one from gold to red to, I think there's a bit of orange or something in it as well. So this one's another one that's going to be turned. and it'll be similar to the previous one that we turned with the hybrid burl with a chameleon in it. So that's another one to be done. So yeah, I just thought I'd show you that. Now, Brett's been waiting a long time for this, so I won't keep him in suspense. And I did send him a picture of this blank, but this is the blank that I've done up for Brett's next handle, the Catman fan. So what I've done was I took the liberty, Brett sent me a photograph of a fairly long handle in dark green and black. But what I've done is I've actually mixed, I think it was 3 different greens, and I've put black in it as well. But what I've done is I've actually, when I've done the pour, I might go to that other camera for this one. Yeah, so when I've done the pour, what I've done was I concentrated on putting the dark green and the black in the bottom of the mould. As you'll see in the bottom there's actually a fair bit of black in the bottom. It's hard to tell what the blank's going to look like from the outside when you see this, because that's just the mould, the way that the material goes against the mould, but it will be swirly inside. So there should be black, a lot more black and dark green, and that dark green and the black will come up to somewhere about 2/3 of the blank up, and then I mixed in another green with a more electric limey green, which you'll see more of in the top colour, right? And you can see the odd little bit of lime green in here, and I just thought that would give the brush, rather as being all black and green, I thought just changing the colour just ever so slightly as it worked up the top of the brush will just give the brush another look altogether. So hopefully when it turns up, you'll see, and I mean you can see that green, the other greens in here now that I've turned that blank around. So it'll be a bit lighter, darker bottom, and a little bit lighter right up the top end of the brush. So I think this will turn out to be quite nice once we actually start turning the shape into it. It's a little bit hard, like I said, it always is, to tell what a handle's going to look like from a blank mould like that. But that one's ready to go, mate. I've got the black casting done for the top part, so this will get cut up into 3. I'll get 3 top sections out of this for other handles, and you'll see what I've done, what I plan to do with this one I've done on the other 3 halo blanks that I've cast. So that's just a carbon black, so it's not just a plain flat black, it's actually got a little bit of, it's a Pearl X colour, so it does actually have a little bit sort of metallic-y, pearly X look about it, but most of the time it really does, it just looks more just like a black, but you can get that little bit of mica look in it. So this one will get cut up into 3, same as what I've done for the other halo blanks that I'm doing, which I'll show you now. Ta-da! So there's another halo one. So these are fairly transparent. You can see, I can put my hand behind that and I can see my hand in that. But I can also see the halo effect where when the resin's cured, it moves the colour, it moves the pigmentation around within the blank, and it creates its own little swirls and spirals in there. And that's where you get that effect, what I'm presuming they call the halo. So this one is actually gold halo. That's the colour of it, so it's gold halo. And what I've done is I've machine faced this end and machine faced the end of this black piece, and I've done my bonding process that I use to bond these together with CA. So I had a lot of, you're probably looking at my hands and seeing I'm missing skin here and there all over the place at the moment. I did get my fingers covered in CA today, so I ended up picking it off for hours, and I've still got some on my hands, and I ended up peeling, bits of skin away, peeling the skin away when I was trying to get the CA off. So I decided to give that away in the end. It was just getting too hard, so I've still got a lot of CA stuck to my fingers everywhere. But anyway, so that's the halo one, and as you can see, the top section will be black, and that's what the knot will be set in, and then the lower part of the handle will be the halo effect. Now I will get a reasonable offcut out of these, but those offcuts I'm going to use, and I might use them for a top section on another handle, just to give us a different look in the handles. So yeah, so that's the plan for the halo. So that's the gold halo. And then this one is called rose gold. So this is the rose gold halo. And as you can see, I've machine faced the bottom, I machine faced the top, machine faced the black blank, and again I've bonded them together, so they'll never come apart. So it'll be the same process. Knot will be set in the top black section, and then we'll have the lower part as the halo handle. And like I said, I can see the swirly patterns in it where the obviously the fine mica or flakes or whatever that's in the pigment float around in resin. I can actually see those swirls. So I'm thinking that when I turn the handle, to shape, and we get thinner parts and thicker parts, I'm taking it that's when the halo will really step in. I mean, I can see the halo in that gold one we've just done, the handle we've just finished with the burl. It looks sensational. So these should look pretty special as well. So that's the rose gold, this one's called. And then the lucky last one is the black halo. So the black halo is what I used on that other chameleon one that I done. So I had chameleon pigment and I put a little bit of this in it as well. And that's why we get that sort of multicoloured look in that other blank. This one does have more of a multicolored type flake in it, whatever it is that they use. You can't really see through that in the cameras, but I can put my hand behind it and I can actually see my fingers through the blank. But it's just you've got those smoky spirals of the coloured pigment in it, giving you that sort of halo effect. So I think that'll look pretty special with the black top on it and the black halo, as will the other ones obviously. Should make for some nice handles. Okay, so that was that. I think that's about it, guys. I think we've got through the stream. Where are we? We're at 3.5 hours, so I mean it's been a longer stream again, but it's been a worthwhile stream. I've had a lot to share with yous. We got a brush made complete as well from start to finish, and like I said, I've got a fair few blanks there that I've been working on over the last couple of days. So we've got a few blanks there that we can probably turn handles from in the stream. I do have another casting to do for Brett. For your other handle, mate. So like I said, that black one will get cut up into 3, so that'll give us the black top section for that other handle that we've got to do for you yet. And then all I've got to do is cast the clear bottom section and put the swirls through it, and I can bond them together, and then that'll give us that handle to make up as well. I've got your 27mm rhodium knot put aside. And what was the other one? You were going with the tuxedo for the other one, weren't you? So yeah, so we'll get that all sorted out. So look, guys, that's pretty much me, unless anybody's got any questions about the casting or the blanks or the stabilisation. That's me pretty much finished now. So I'm going to basically shut the shed door down, but I'll have a quick look in the chat and I'll throw up my little subscribe one for a few minutes, and I'll just check out the chat, see where we are, see if I've missed anything. I won't go too far back, I'll just go back a little bit here. Yeah, so just looking at what Brett and Resin have been saying, yeah, I did put some micas in the some Pearl X micas into the colours on these as well. This blank here, so it will be, you know, it will be a nice effect once we start cutting into that handle. We'll get some nice colour hopefully. And what I've also done in these, or what I also done with this one, these blanks that I've just shown you, they were all cast in polyester again. So these will take a much higher shine than say your other two brushes that I sent you, Brett, because they were done in an epoxy resin. You don't quite, although they were pretty shiny, but this should come up even shinier. Just different material. It's just I want to use up the last of my polyester resin, and then I'll be going pretty much totally to the epoxy resin. Not for any other reason, it's just that the polyester, as I've mentioned before, is fairly toxic. You've got to work it in well ventilated areas. It's messier to work with. The other epoxy resins are just so much easier and cleaner to work with. So I'm going to change over to that for the majority. I may occasionally just have a 4-litre tin of polyester sitting in the fridge in the workshop here for use, because I do still like to play around with the polyester. They've got different capabilities when it comes to pigments and colour separation and stuff like that. So I probably will always have a little bit of polyester, but the majority of my handles will be done in epoxy from here on in and not polyester. But this should look really nice, and I think some of that metallic-y look should come out in this handle once we start turning it and it gets polished up. So that's that one anyway. I seen you guys talking about that one, so I thought I'd just update you on that. Yeah, we'll try, like I said, I'll try and live stream Brett. I'll try and live stream both those handles getting made if I can, and obviously I've got these other ones all lined up now for turning as well, so you know, it looks like I'm going to have a few streams just turning handles again. And somewhere in between I want to chuck something else in, whether it be making a pen or whether it be making a bottle opener or whatever, making a bowl, like I said. We'll play around with that as we move on out. Just let me check anything else. Yeah, Razor, I think the halos, once you see them turned into handles, mate, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. It's going to be another look again. I mean, I'm looking at this one we've just done today, and I'm looking into that burl, and it is absolutely stunning. It really is. I hope I can get a couple of nice photographs of this one and get the photographs to show it. It's always hard getting the photographs to look right, but I'll see what I can do with these one when I take it inside and take a couple of pickies. It looks really special, I'm telling you. It really does. And you can see areas where the halo, like the flakes or whatever it is they use, you can see areas where it's more concentrated, and then there's other areas where you see more clear, and that's just how it cures in the resin. It's pretty spectacular. Anyway, right, let's see what else there is. So that's it, lovely, yeah. Lovely pink, no, it's rose gold. Rose gold is what it's called. So yeah, I'll try and get back to normal again, guys. I've been jumping around. I've had a bit going on because, as I mentioned in the last stream, our little pup, the female pup, she come into season, so we had to take her up to the vets and get her desexed, get her spayed, and get her desexed. So we've been having to cope with her. I mean, we've got our brother as well, so we didn't want any nonsense happening between them two. So we took the girl up and got her desexed the other day. So she's been in a bad way for the last 2 or 3 days, recouping from that. So, and we're trying to keep the boy looked after as well. So yeah, so we're getting there now. She's actually starting to come back to normal again now. She's got to go back and get her stitches out in about a week's time, but she's coming good now. So it's getting easier and easier each day. So I just had a bit of sorting out with all that to do, trying to get some time in the shed, and I thought, well, just missing that extra stream or whatever on the Friday, or has helped me just get on top of a few things and obviously take care of the dogs. But now I've got a few handles ahead of me now. Plus we've still got Razor's one to do, which I'll do probably over the next day or two. I might actually even get the chameleon on that tomorrow and then get it sitting in the sun for the rest of the day, so that the UV really hardens it up, and then I can pour it in the clear, and then hopefully we're right to go with that. But Razor, if you've got any questions about that one, mate, just pop me a message. I must give you my email at some stage so that you can send me an email instead of doing it through P&C. It's a lot easier if it comes through email for me, or even through Messenger or Facebook or anything like that. It's much easier than logging in and out of PNC to read the messages. So if you want to go that way, if you've got any questions or you want to discuss what I've showed you tonight, just drop me a message, mate, and we'll sort that out. We'll get that underway. Yeah, no, that's it, guys. So we look like we're all done and dusted. So I think I'll look at pulling up the end screen very, very shortly, and we'll call it a night. Once again, I want to thank you all for dropping into the stream. Much appreciated. There was a fair bit of chat going on in there tonight, so hopefully we're getting a few guys, you know, like-minded guys, talking all the normal stuff, all the wet shaving stuff, traditional wet shaving stuff. It's good to see. Hopefully we can get more people in. My subscribers have dropped off, which is understandable. I think we're still sitting at 53, which we were sitting at 53 a week or so ago. So hopefully we can maybe try and pick up a few subscribers along the way and grow the channel a bit more. Time is the thing for that, though. It does take a long time for your channels to really kick off and get a fair number of people in there at any given time when you're streaming. But anyway, we'll take that as it comes. As long as there's people in the stream and enjoying it and enjoying what I'm showing you and you know, picking up stuff along the way, as long as people are enjoying it, I'll keep doing it. So we're all good there. So the next stream will probably be, what day is this? This is Sunday. So the next one will probably be Tuesday, and then that leaves me free for my SES on Wednesday if I've got anything on with my SES on Wednesday, and then we'll be back to, say, Thursday. Might give Friday, Saturday a miss and do Sunday night again if that works best for Brett as well. I don't think anybody's got any dramas with that, and that gives me that extra sort of day in between as well to get a few things ready and prepared. So that'll work out good. But anyway, guys, I think we'll shut the shed door down, and thanks for coming along, and we'll see you all next time, eh? Thanks, guys. Thank you. We'll see you next time. Cheers. Ta-da.